Hi guys, my name's Trinity. If you're here to see a book haul. So today I have a small-ish book haul, some books that I have been waiting on, some books that were bought for me for my birthday, and then I went shopping because that's how we do. And I have to say, I have a very wide range of books to show off to you guys. So let's go ahead and start out with the book I have for review. This author, he's so sweet. I just adore him. And so when he offered me a physical book to review, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And the first book of this series, I really enjoyed the main character. I thought he was a breath of fresh air in a world full of grimdark tales. And so, of course, I accepted Mystic Reborn, an Archives of Avelium tale. I don't know if I have ever said that right, but Jeffrey Spite. And this one says, some paths are meant to be walked alone. Mystic Reborn is the continuation of Paladin Unbound, the award-winning start of the Archives of Avelium. After embracing his destiny as the last of the Paladins, Umra, the Peacebreaker, is granted ancient powers by the gods. When he returns to the ruins of Antikin to fulfill a promise, he embarks on a journey that will push the limits of his abilities. As the Grey Queen's arrival heralds the fulfillment of a prophecy that could mean the end of humanity, the kingdom of Avelium desperately needs a hero. Can Umra once more rise to the challenge and save mankind from annihilation? And like I said, I really enjoyed this main character, so following him again, I'm very excited. I didn't realize that synopsis would be a little spoilery for Paladin Unbound, but if you haven't read Paladin Unbound, it's a very much a D&D style story with Umra as the main character. He's, like I said, a breath of fresh air in the world full of grimdark, and always is trying to do the right thing, even though some dark things happen along the way and his path kind of gets a little shaken. I really enjoyed his story. So continuing on, I will go ahead and do that. It's not a huge ask for me. I'm really excited to get into this, and look at this cover, guys. This is the most beautiful cover I have seen in a long time. Long time. Speaking of beautiful covers, so I had a house fire a few years ago and ended up losing a few books, most of them being classics. I've talked a few times about losing my copy of Brave New World and things like that. Well, one of the books that was lost was one of my favorite Gothic novels. That would be Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. My friend Izzy purchased this for me for my birthday. It is stunning. It's a 80th anniversary edition, and it's beautiful. It is embossed with a nice R. Can you guys see that? Yeah, there we go. And like the naked spine, she beautiful. And I was so very excited. This will be cherished for years and years because I love Rebecca. Next, we have one that came for me for my birthday. Had no note with it, so I don't know who sent it to me, whoever you are. Thank you. And that is Rise of the Mages by Scott Drakeford. Very excited to get into this. I've heard very, very good things about this. I do know that this is a character-driven story, but that the plot actually moves throughout the book. So I'm very much looking forward to it, even though most people will say it's character-driven and like an adventure story, all those things. Like I've heard, I will still probably enjoy this because I will like that the plot moves forward even though it's character-driven. It says, Emriel Eyre wants nothing more than to test to be a weapons master. His final exam will be a bloody insurrection staged by corrupt nobles and priests that enslaved his brother. With the aid of his master of war tutor, herself an undercover mage, Emriel discovers his own latent and powerful talents. To rescue his brother, Emriel must embrace not only his abilities as a warrior, but also his place as the last of an ancient mage kings, for the fallen god has returned, and he is hungry. So yes, I have had my eye on this one for quite some time. Like I said, it was bought off of my Amazon wish list, but I don't know who purchased it for me. And anytime you have a clash of humans and gods, I'm all for it. Still a big fan of Clash of the Titans. Will always love that movie. The new and the old. I think they both have merit. So the next two were purchased for me by my friend Andrew. You guys know I have a friend who we have very opposite reading tastes, but sometimes we agree, and mostly it's on the brutal, dark stuff. But his girlfriend's favorite book made it to my doorstep after he read it, and he was like, oh my gosh, I think you will really like this. The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. I have actually heard this is a very beautiful book, not just from him, but across the board. I've heard that this is a very beautiful book. And this is about a girl who is convinced that after her mother has committed suicide, she turns into a bird. And whenever she goes to live with her grandparents in Taiwan, she goes on a search for this bird that she believes is her mom. In doing so, she ends up uncovering some family secrets and all sorts of stuff. And like I said, I've heard it's a very beautiful novel, and that one that you'll get really engrossed in very quickly. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited. This, I feel like, is going to hit my literary nerd brain pretty hard, and I'm going to enjoy it. And one thing that me and Andrew both love is Peaky Blinders. And so whenever I compared the first book of this series to Peaky Blinders, he went ahead and purchased the second book for me so that I would continue on with the series. I'm very excited to continue with the series. I love the narrative voice in this series. It's so just rich and evocative, and I love it. I really love it. And yeah, so the thing that we agree on being Peaky Blinders, he had to buy me the Peaky Blinders follow-up, right? And if you guys haven't read this, or The Priest of Bones, it centers on Thomas Piety. He is a priest who has gone to war. He comes back to find out all of the things that he had established before he went to war, all of the businesses that he owned, all of the systems that he had put in place were either crumbling, falling apart, or had been taken over by someone else. And so the whole first book is him and his band of brothers and his brother reestablishing themselves in this world, in this city, and taking over all of the businesses that had fallen to the wayside in their absence. I really love the first book. I'm so excited to continue. And then for my birthday, I also got A Shade of Madness by Tiago Abdallah. I'm thrilled to start this book. I am waiting to immersive read this. So as soon as Kevin Kemp and Tiago Abdallah get the second book ready for audio, I'm going to be immersive reading A Shade of Madness. I loved the first book so much. I've talked about it so much. I'm not going to talk about it here. Just know political intrigue all over the place. Great battles. The writing is so beautiful. I enjoy it. And I have said, like, Brian Lee Durfee, Anthony Ryan, Tiago Abdallah, there's just something about their writing that just, it gets me. I love it so much. And so very much looking forward to this one and seeing how we continue. And the ending of the first book has stuck with me because I just couldn't get over what was happening. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God. Like, I just, like, mind blown at the ending of the first book. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. Tiago also doesn't really info dump, so I'm looking forward to getting more of this world and not having to read through any sloggy parts, because that was always really great about the first book. Now for the books that I purchased at the Buy Sell Trade today. I'm sorry if you can hear the bag rattling beside me. I said I was going to purchase this book, and I did. It is Loathe to Love You, which is the Steminist novellas by Ali Hazelwood. So I have read Stuck With You and Below Zero. I need to read Under One Roof, but I knew I was going to purchase this. No doubt in my mind that I was going to get my hands on this book and finish out my Ali Hazelwood collection. So very, very excited to have this. Very excited to read the next novella. And I do believe I own all of the Ali Hazelwood books now. I know she has a new one coming out, and I will probably get that when it comes out. And then I got Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes by Eric LaRocca. So I have read Eric LaRocca before. The one about the threads, I cannot think of the name of it. Oh my gosh, I will overlay that book up here. But I really loved how Eric LaRocca described things, because you could see like there was an unraveling happening within this character's mind as well as their body, and the things happening around them were starting to unravel, and it was really, really descriptive, and I really loved it. So I picked this up knowing that I already like Eric LaRocca's writing, and this is 3 short stories. I know Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke is the first one, The Enchantment, and You'll Find It's Like That All Over is the third one. So I'm very excited to get into this. He is an absolute amazing horror author. And if you like horror, I definitely recommend Eric LaRocca. Okay, so not too long ago, I read a book with a very similar premise to the one I'm about to show you, and I didn't like the writing style. So when I came across this, I was like, okay, Lafferty, 6 wakes, 6 crew, 1 ship, 1 killer. A lone ship, a murdered crew, and a clone who must find her own killer before they strike again. It's not common to wake up in a cloning vat streaked with drying blood. Maria Arena has been cloned before, but never like this. Usually when she wakes in a new body, her first memory is how she died. This time, she has no idea. Her memories are incomplete, and Maria isn't the only one to have died recently. I know nothing more than that. But there was a book that was very similar in premise to this that, like I said, I didn't like the writing style, but this one has won the Hugo and Nebula Awards, or it was a finalist for the Hugo and Nebula Awards. And so I want to give this one a shot and see if the writing style clicks a little bit better for me. But it sounds good. Okay, so another book that I fell in love with that was an Owl Crate book and just absolutely adored it is The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. And so when I saw Descendant of the Crane, I couldn't pass it up. I already knew that this author, I like their writing style, and then the book is stunning. This one says, treason. For Princess Hesenia of Yan, the palace is her home, but her father is her world. He taught her how to defend against the corruption and excess of the old kings. 4 revolutionaries purged them and their seers and established the dynasty anew. He was supposed to teach her how to rule. Trial. The imperial doctress says the king died a natural death, but Hesenia believes he was murdered. She is determined to bring his assassination to justice. His assassin to justice. Truth. But in a broken system, ideals can kill. As the investigation quickly spins out of control, Hesenia realizes that no one is innocent, not the heroes in history or the father she thought she knew. If she doesn't rein in the trial soon, more blood will spill, her people's, her families, and even her own. So yeah, very, very excited to get into this. And my last book was a complete cover buy. Absolute cover buy. Never heard of it, but it is Cole Buchanan Farlander. Look at this cover. I've told you guys when steampunk elements are in play, I am sold. I am sold. And then I read the blurb. Farlander is a manic romp that takes in politics affecting nations at war, as well as bringing the people who shape these nations into sharp focus. There is a little something here for everyone. Farlander kicks off Cole Buchanan's debut series in some style and promises great things for the future. The heart of the world is a land unstrife. For 50 years, the holy empire of man, an empire and religion born from nihilistic urban cult, has been conquering nation after nation. Their leader, holy matriarch Sashin, ruthlessly maintains control through her diplomats, priests trained as subtle predators. Ash is a member of an elite group of assassins, the Roshan, who offer protection through the threat of vendetta. Forced by his ailing health to take on an apprentice, he chooses Nico, a young man living in the besieged city of Barkos. At the time, Nico is hungry, desperate, and alone in a city that finds itself teetering on the brink of destruction. When the holy matriarch's son deliberately murders a woman under the protection of the Roshan, he forces the sect to seek his life in retribution. Ash and his young apprentice set out to fulfill the mandate, and their journey takes them into the heart of the conflict between the Empire and the Free Ports, into bloodshed and death. So yeah, it sounds really, really good, and I'm really excited for it. But that's it for my video today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!